A lot of people, when they build formulas, will do so only within a specific spreadsheet. And this is usually best practice because everything is contained. But if you're maintaining the same databases in multiple spreadsheets, this may not be the best practice. And that's because one spreadsheet may be updated while the other ones may not. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to do an Xlookup formula from an entirely different spreadsheet. So for example, on this spreadsheet, we have our roster, and let's say that this is maintained by HR, so we can see exactly who is active and who is not. Now over here, we have our different performance for each one of our account executives, and we need to know who is active and who is not. And with that, we automatically sort the details based off of who is active and who is not. And then on our performance charts that get sent out to the executives, we're able to only include the active people. So in our performance tab roster, we're going to type equals Xlookup, and we're going to look up Alistair Fox, put a comma. Now instead of doing a lookup range internally, we're going to use an import range formula to look it up externally. So we're going to type import range, open parentheses. First thing you need is the URL. So I'm going to go over to the main roster spreadsheet, copy the URL, and then inside quotes, I'm going to paste it. The next thing you need to know is the tab name. So in this case, it's roster. Then you'll put an exclamation point after roster, and then you need to know which range you're looking up. In this case, all of our associates is where I want to look up because that's where Alistair Fox is. So inside quotes, I'm going to put roster, exclamation point, A:A. I'll end the quote, close the parentheses. I'm going to put a comma, and then copy the import range formula that we just did so we don't have to get the information again, and I'm going to paste it. But this time, since we want to return the status, we don't want column A, we want column D instead. So for our return range, I'm going to change A to A, to D to D. And now once I press enter, it's going to give us this reference error, and that's because we need to allow this sync. And that's what makes it have live data between the two. So I'm going to hit allow access. And once you do that, we should be able to see Alistair Fox is equal to active. If I go over here, Alistair Fox, active. If I were to change her to inactive, it will change it to inactive as well, because once again, it's a live sync. Now to drag this formula down to the rest of them, it's going to work the same exact way as it normally does. So you'll see exactly who is active and who is inactive. And now that we have this information, if I go to my AE target list, we can see who's active, who is inactive. And then on my performance, it's going to automatically sort by the active people. I can check whoever I want to include. And then for everybody that's still active, we can see exactly how everybody's performing. And let's say that these 3 people were on vacation, we can simply uncheck those. And now we have a super clear list. But the core of it comes down to this Xlookup formula that brings in data from the other side. Now this is very messy to read because there's a lot of characters. So one hack that you can do that will make your life a lot easier, especially if you're doing VStack or query or something along those lines where you might be doing different spreadsheets all into one formula. So for example, you can either paste the URL right here and press tab and it has this little chip, or you can type @ and then start typing the name, and then it will flag the file right there. So now instead of having to deal with all the different characters in the URL, I can simply delete the URL and then point to this cell that contains the URL, and it will work the same exact way because even though this is a chip and it looks nicer and you can actually read it, it's just a URL on the back end formatted differently. And the same thing right here, we can go ahead and clear this URL. So now even with just that, it's a lot easier to read. Now another thing you could do is you could put the lookup ranges and the return ranges in here as well. So roster, exclamation point, A to A, roster, exclamation point, D to D. And then instead of having these inside the formula, you could simply point to that cell. Same thing with the return range, delete what's currently there. And once you point to that cell and press enter, you have a nice little formula where you have cell references, but it's nice and clean, so you're not trying to figure out what's going on. If somebody was trying to look at this formula, they could see that we're trying to import from G2, and we'll see that report right here. And we're importing this range in H2. And then same thing for the return range, we're looking at G2, and then we are returning the range in I2. So that's a nice way to keep nice and neat. Now if we were to drag this formula down, we're going to get an NA error because things shifted. So if we do use this chip hack, we need to make sure that we anchor these in to make it an absolute reference so they do not change as we drag things down. And now we're good to go. I hope you liked this video. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe. Let me know if you have any questions and like and comment for more.